My name's Max Fraser and I'm the Deputy Director of the London Design Festival. This year in 2013 our theme is Design is Everywhere, and the reason that we've chosen to go with that is to really try and emphasise that design doesn't just exist on pedestals, it isn't just expensive and rather elitist stuff, that actually design permeates every level of our lives, from the super mundane like light switches and electricity sockets and street furniture and lighting, that kind of stuff that we take for granted, as well as the magnificent and the spectacular pieces that are often brought to the fore during the festival. The London Design Festival is 11 years old this year, and actually when it started there weren't so many design festivals going on around the world. Now at the last count there are something like 80 to 100 taking place around the world. So pretty much every week of the year you could go to a design festival. So of course, where does that leave us in London? Well, London is a major cosmopolitan centre in the world. It's hugely multicultural, and there's a very strong design base already here. One of the key virtues, I think, of London's design scene is that it's not necessarily strong in one particular discipline, that the full sweep of design disciplines is well represented. And there's a very strong kind of collaborative element between designers and all of the associated partners that they need to make a strong project. So London Design Festival, I like to think, has got its own core London base propping up and providing the foundations to its success, onto which other countries come in and showcase their design skills during the week. And it's got to a size now where it's very difficult to be able to cover everything. Our motivation now is not to make the festival bigger, but it's to make it better and more diverse each year, and to embrace more of those disciplines that I mentioned. You know, and when you compare it to something perhaps like the Milan Furniture Fair, you know, that's very much rooted within furniture and product design world, which is fine, and they do that very well. The issue I have with Milan is that it's almost too big now. There's almost too much noise. It's almost impossible to see the whole lot. But what make Milan, London and certain other design festivals exciting and important to be at in person is that they're a coming together of the design industry and the design scene, and they're a moment when we all get together and compare notes and talk and catch up on things. So in that respect they're very important, particularly at a time when we are enveloped within a digital communication space and we operate within our closed quarters. To come together as human beings is very important. London is of course an enormous city, and it basically has grown out of a bunch of villages. And whilst it's now merged into this monolithic cosmopolitan space, you still have a sense of villages in the city, and I love that as a Londoner. So for example, during the festival we celebrate some of those and we call them design districts. The key to the success of a design festival, in my opinion, is to actually nurture and celebrate your homegrown talent. So if I was travelling to, say, Tokyo or New York or any of these other cities in the world, I want to see the design from that place. So first and foremost, the key thing is to nurture that. Now in London, we're very fortunate because we've got such a strong base of design talent here already. So that sort of usually bubbles up to the top anyway. Then adding layers onto that, layers of narrative, inviting other countries to exhibit their designs in this city, exposing this city to outside influences, the importance of dialogue and discussion, I think, as well as just looking and seeing stuff, and the commercial elements of the festival to talk about some of the issues around design is very key. And I suppose, you know, I've always been interested in making design more widely understood by more people. So I think in London now we're quite well established within the design industry. They understand the festival, they know how to access it. The biggest challenge for us and every design festival in the world is how do you get members of the public to engage with this thing called, in our case, the London Design Festival. You know, if you've got a casual interest in design, what is the hook for those people? So one of the things that we emphasize are these large public installations that we kind of pretty much drop into London in high traffic areas like Trafalgar Square, or in this year the Tate Modern where we're almost forcing design into the path of the punter, if you like, and hoping that they'll get excited by it and getting them to think about design in a different environment, in a different space. And hey, telling their mum, their dad, their friends, their family all about what they saw today and spreading the message of design. As I mentioned, the campaign message this year, Design is Everywhere, is very much about saying that design isn't behind closed doors, that actually we all use it, we all embrace it, we all embark upon design every day of the week without really even knowing it. This year in 2013, the Global Design Forum returns and we are staging the event at the South Bank Centre across a full day programme. But the night before, we kick off with a discussion between the legendary graphic designer Peter Saville and the cultural critic Paul Morley, and they'll be having a kind of head-to-head clash, and I'm hoping it will be very provocative, really kind of pulling apart the design industry and actually exploring what's wrong with it as much as how wonderful it is and what can be improved. The next day we have 4 sessions, 20 speakers. We have people like the head of design from BMW Group, the head of design from HTC. We have the advertising guru Sir John Hegarty, the designer and lecturer Ilse Crawford. We have the Future Laboratories Chris Sanderson. We have a number of designers like Ross Lovegrove, Jaime Hayon, and so on. We've got this kind of great roll call of names who will be engaging in not show and tell presentations, but very much panel discussions to eke out the issues that are facing design right now. So we'll be looking at innovation, we'll be looking at some of the ideas that are actually shaking the world right now, where design plays a major role. We'll be looking at the relationship between designers, brands and the consumer, particularly in light of how production and distribution is changing. And we're also looking at cities and the importance of design in cities and how design has bubbled up to the top of the agenda for many cities around the world. You know, design being one of those things that can actually change communities, can change the way we live and how we live and the quality of life. But also on the global platforms, design can be a defining factor in how a city is perceived by the rest of the world. All of these things will be discussed. The idea is that the delegates from the forum who are attending can interact with what's being said, can feed in their own ideas. The whole event will be filmed, and then, as I say, the conversation will roll to the next event in the world, which will take place in Hong Kong in March.